Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Pelletier again, and I have chosen some books by Eric Carle. So we're going to do an Eric Carle author study today, and I actually have a picture of him right here. I'm going to zoom in on that. And he's written lots of books that I'm sure you know, The Very Hungry Caterpillar being one of his biggest sellers. But I've chosen 4 different ones, and the first one that I'm going to read to you is From Head to Toe. And I want you to look at the cover of this book. What animal do you notice that's there? Yep, it's a gorilla. And then I want you to notice what he's doing. He's making a movement, right? He's putting his arm above his head. So we're going to read about lots of different animals and how they move when we read the story. So I want you to pay attention to the illustrations too, because Eric Carle has a very unique way of making his illustrations, and we all know that Eric Carle writes the words for his books and he also does the illustrations, okay? And we're going to actually have fun and maybe make our own illustration. So look at that. Even before we start, he loves to paint lots of different colors. So you pay attention to that. And he has a dedication page. I want to read this to you. He says, it's dedicated to Mrs. Fricky, my first grade teacher in Syracuse, New York, who discovered and nurtured my love for drawing pictures. So he's dedicating it to one of his teachers, his first grade teacher. And then he's also dedicating it to Air Kraus, my art teacher in gymnasium, high school in in Germany actually, who introduced me to modern art when it was forbidden to be shown. So his artwork was very new at the time that he was in school in Germany, and most people didn't really accept it, but that particular professor did. So he's dedicating this book to him. And also to Professor Schneider, who inspired me when I was studying graphic design under him at the Akademie der Bildenden Kunst Stuttgart. A lot of words. So he's dedicating this book to 3 of his teachers that really supported him in his work, okay? So now who do you see here on the title page? Yep, it's a child doing a movement that's similar to the gorilla. So let's see what this is all about. I am a penguin and I turn my head. Can you do it? I can do it. So the penguin moves his head, right? And what does the penguin ask? Can you do it? If you're at home, stand still and see if you can turn your head, just like that. So a penguin can turn their head and a human can turn their head. I am a giraffe and I bend my neck. Can you do it? Can you bend your neck? Try to bend your neck. I can do it. We don't have quite as long of a neck as a giraffe, but we can still bend our neck, right? So you're going to start to see a pattern. The animal's going to introduce himself, they're going to tell you what they can do, and then they're going to ask a question. Can you do it? And then the child is going to answer. I am a buffalo, and I raise my shoulders. Can you do it? What do you think that the girl's going to say? Think in your brain. I can do it. So see how the buffalo's shoulders, these are your shoulders, they're kind of raised. She can do that too. Not quite the same, but she can still raise them. I am a monkey and I wave my arms. Can you do it? Wave your arms at home. Wave them. I can do it. So this child can do it. Think to yourself, what are you noticing about some of these illustrations? I was thinking the same thing. Very colorful, aren't they? say, I am a seal and I clap my hands. Can you do it? If you're at home, clap your hands. I can do it. I am a gorilla and I thump my chest. Can you do it? I can do it. I am a cat and I arch my back. Can you do it? I can do it. What do you notice about their backs? What are they doing? What shape do you notice? You notice this kind of a shape, an arc? We've been talking about that in some of our drawings, haven't we? When you arch something, you make it into an arc. Okay, that's the word that he chose to use. Okay? And again, can you notice anything special about these illustrations? See how there are some squiggles and all different spots and lines? Eric Carle likes to paint different pictures, different papers, and then he cuts out the shapes to make his illustrations. I'm going to show you how to do that after we read the book. I am a crocodile and I wriggle my hips. Can you do it? I can do it. Wiggle your hips at home. Wriggle, wriggle. So that means you go back and forth. Okay? I am a camel and I bend my knees. Can you do it? I can do it. So do you see that they're both bending their knees? So the animals can do things, they can move different ways, the same way that we can move different ways. I am a donkey and I kick my legs. Can you do it? I can do it. So you have to get on both hands and kick up your legs just like a donkey does. I am an elephant and I stomp my feet. Can you do it? I can do it. See, she's stomping her feet and look at how he makes her look like she's moving. He puts that leg up and that foot up. I am I and I wiggle my toe. Can you do it? I can do it. I can do it. Now what's different about this page? Think to yourself, what's different? I am I and I wiggle my toe. Can you do it? I can do it. I can do it. Instead of on every other page, who asked the question? The animal, right? I am an elephant and I stomp my foot. Can you do it? Now, who's asking the question? The boy, right? And who's answering? It's what we call a parrot or a parakeet. And most of the time, they can actually talk and they often repeat themselves. So he says, I can do it, I can do it. And that's it. And there you see more of that paint that we love, that we notice in lots of Eric Carle books. So how are the animals and the humans alike in this book? What are you thinking? Yep, they can each move. They do similar movements, don't they? But how are they different? Well, they certainly look different, right? And it's not always looking exactly the same when he wriggles his hips, right? So it's a little different, but it is a little bit the same, okay? So I told you to think carefully about the illustrations, and you can notice that there's lots of textures in the paintings. What Eric Carle likes to do is, I've got some actually for you. Like on this, he likes to do things like this. He might take a sponge and wet it and then put it in paint and then just put it all over the page. And then on this, here's another way that he might do it. He puts lots of water on the page, paints it all different colors, and then puts some salt on top of it and lets the salt dry, and see how it makes little dots? And then this one was really special. I used this kind of marbleizing solution, and he does this too sometimes. it almost makes the paint look like there's oil in it, and then you drop the paper in the paint and it makes all of these really cool swirls, okay? So here's another one where I just splattered paint, just like he does sometimes. He just splatters it and has these papers. And then after he has the papers, he says to himself, if I want to make this kind of like a bird, okay, then he draws it, just sketches it, and then he cuts out different colors for what he needs. So when he puts it all together, see that? Goes from here to here to here to here to here to here, and he has a bird. Same thing with a flower. He's got all the different parts that he cuts out, but when he puts them together, he's got a flower with the caterpillar. Okay, and he does that with all of his paintings, his illustrations. They start off as just pieces of paper, and then he cuts them, and that's what we call collage. Okay, and then when you glue them all together, you have an illustration. So this is what I'm going to do with you right now. I'm going to show you, and I already cut them out, but I just want to show you what that might look like. So here, I'm going to put this paper up here, and actually I could use, maybe I'll use one of these neat background papers. So I'll use this, and then I can glue, where's my glue? He uses sometimes tissue paper, he paints the tissue paper, but when I did this, I used just regular paper. This is some tissue paper that I actually had at home that was already painted. So I'm going to take this. So here's the stem of the plant, and I might put it down a little bit. It's a little long. We'll fold it over. And then this can be the big part of the flower, right? And then here are some of the petals. There's one. So you could do, you know what, and if you don't have paints at home, you could just color all different, use your crayon and color it all different colors, and then cut out and make something. So you could say to yourself, ooh, if I wanted to make a flower like this and I want oranges and maybe blues, I could color in all of that. And then, oh, I think I'm missing a few. Oh, here's one. And then you could say, oh, I want to cut it out and make the shape of a flower. So we'll do it like that. And then you can put some of the stems on it, like that. Like that. I just cut them out earlier so it wouldn't take too much time here. And then if I want to make the caterpillar, I could put the caterpillar's body there, and maybe let's use his, oh, actually, you know what? This was supposed to be his head. I'll use this as another stem there. And then I could cut out a couple of little eyes for his, because I think on the caterpillar, he made his eyes yellow. So I can do one here. Maybe I'll just do one because he's sideways. And then I can add, if you look at the picture here, let's see. I'm going to add his little antenna. I'll put a little dot for his eye, but I could add a little antenna, and then I could add his little feet, right? And I could add maybe a little smile. All right, just like that. So you can cut out and make all of these cool pictures just at your own house. So again, if you don't have paints, you can just use all different kinds of paper. And see, so this was one that I started where I thought, oh, I'm going to have the ocean in the background, and I had some brown paper that I had painted, and so I cut out this for the sand, and then I was going to start making some bubbles and put a fish in here. Okay, so you can see all of those different techniques. It's really fun. All right, so boys and girls, we just talked about, we read about From Head to Toe, and we noticed certain things about this book. Let's talk about what we noticed. Think about it first. We said that each page had a different animal and child. We said that the animals ask questions and the children answer, except on the last page, right? We also said that the pictures have bright colors and they are made out of pieces of paper. All of his illustrations, that's what he does as an illustrator. Okay, so boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed Eric Carl's From Head to Toe.